Producers have endured a variety of growing conditions. Needless to say, this year, a very wet spring in a lot of areas to now some dry areas showing up. It is harvest season across the country and soon time to start fall field preparations, including winter wheat and residue management overall. Tonight, we're going to be talking about soil health, 2 new products from Monty's Plant Food Company to help you prepare for the next growing season and starting that preparation tonight. Good evening and welcome to this edition of Rural America Live with Monty's Plant Food. I'm Mark Oppold. Thanks for joining us tonight. We are joined once again by our friends from Monty's and a special guest from Kansas joining us later this hour. Joining me right now in the studio, Joe Dedman, a great friend, Monty's Plant Food, and Ron Perry, Monty's crop consultant from North Carolina. Welcome to our program.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, sir.
Good to have you here. Joe, good to see you again. Your first time in our new studio here. You've been to the other studio many years. What do you think of our new home?
This one is really awesome. I love it. I love all the graphics. It really portrays rural America greatly, so I like it.
And Monty's as well, and so it's good to have you here and room to stretch around a little bit here now, isn't there? Good to see you again. You've been very busy,
yes, sir,
as you always are all year long. We'll be talking about your schedule and some of the things here and the new products here in just a minute. Ron Perry, good to have you here.
Yes, sir.
Give our viewers and listeners an idea about yourself. 25 years plus doing this.
Yes, sir. I just recently retired from Southern States Cooperative as a senior agronomist with a little over 25 years of service. I primarily worked central and eastern North Carolina during that time frame. I'm also a past president of the North Carolina Small Grain Growers Association, and I currently still serve on that board, at least at the end of this calendar year. And in past years, I've served on the board of directors of the North Carolina Plant Food Association and the North Carolina Crop Protecting Association as well. I'm a certified crop advisor, have been one for a little over 25 years. And I live on my small family farm about 10 miles northeast of Raleigh, North Carolina. And I'm a graduate of NC State University, so go Wolfpack.
Well, you got to get that in too, absolutely.
Yes,
you
sir.
bet. So you can speak firsthand for these products that we're going to be covering during this hour. You've seen them on your own farm operation, and you certainly have seen them with customers you visit with 25 years before even joining the Monty's team. So
absolutely,
good,
absolutely.
Good to have you here, Ron. Now, tonight we're also going to be talking a lot about the influence Monty's products are having right now on soil and plant health, the many successes. We're going to hear from a few producers around the country what they're seeing in their fields, and also talking specifically how Monty's products are having an impact on wheat growers and hay and pasture growers. So you want to keep those of you, if you fall in those 2 categories, we have a lot of information for you. And in fact, we'll be introducing 2 brand new products designed to help growers with residue issues and hay pasture needs during this hour. And I want to say right off the top here, Joe, thank you for, again, this is not the first time you've done this, that Monty says, we want to introduce a new product, and we want to introduce it for the first time on RFD-TV. So we thank you. We do treasure that, and it means a lot.
We appreciate it too, because we know that you guys get out and talk to the farmers, so this is front row. The farmers get to hear it first on RFD-TV.
Well, let's go. Let's not wait any longer here. We're going to introduce 2 products here tonight that Joe has brought, and let's get to that first one of 2. What is it?
The first product is one that we have listened to our growers and our producers over the last several years, and we know that residue management has become a real problem, especially dealing with cropping and planting and emergence and germination. Also tractor tires. I mean, it tears up a lot of tractor tires. Yeah. So we've developed, actually engineered a product that addresses residue management, and it is called Humi-Till. So that's the product that we've named it. Humi-Till is especially designed to deal with these residue and break them down, decompose them, release nutrients. It's going to be a fantastic product for the farmer to deal with residue management, especially after harvest. It's also designed that if he could put it on next spring if he didn't get around to doing it this fall. So the product is specifically designed that it has an activated humic technology in it, and it also has a microbial package that's specifically designed to break down the cellulose, the lignin, and the keratin that's in a lot of those corn stalks.
Very good. You brought a video with you that really goes into detail,
Yes,
and let's just
great.
go ahead and show that. It'll be all right.
Yes.
And really explains Humi-Till in detail. You're hearing that name and seeing the product for the very first time anywhere right here on Rural America Live. Let's take a look.
Thank you for taking the time to learn more about Humi-Till, a new crop residue management product available from Monty's Plant Food Company. The best products are those that provide solutions to the problems and challenges farmers are facing with residue. Farmers have access to corn varieties that are far superior to the options they have had in the past. Today's corn is more drought, insect, and disease tolerant than ever before, which is indeed an advantage for today's farmer. To achieve these types of benefits, seed corn companies are breeding new traits into their seed. Not only does this provide a more tolerant and higher yielding seed, it also leaves a more tolerant and slower degrading residue. Farmers will testify to having several seasons worth of crop residue still in their fields, not yet broken down. The reasons for slower decomposition in these newer corn varieties are the increased levels of genetic traits, which is often referred to as stacked hybrids. These stacked hybrids are higher in lignin and cellulose, which often takes longer to break down. As many farmers have seen, this process can take years if unassisted, and given today's higher yielding crops, it only means more crop residue to deal with. Farmers are growing higher yielding crops and utilizing stacked hybrid seed, and because of both, they are faced with even more crop residue issues. Problems. Higher corn yields lead to higher amounts of crop residue. Higher amounts of crop residue cause planting issues, germination issues, and yield issues, all at a cost to the farmer. Many farmers do nothing and put up with the continued buildup of crop residue, which not only causes planting issues the following spring, but also contributes to insect, weed, and disease pressure throughout the growing season. When planting through heavy crop residue, seedbed preparation is less than optimum. Germination rates and stands are erratic and inconsistent, and conversion of nutrients from the residue are not achieved. All of these affect crop yield and performance. Not to mention the frustration factor. Loss of yield can first take place at planting. Farmers begin by planting high-yielding populations, but poor planting conditions take their toll on stand counts and harvestable ears. As the chart shows, significant loss in bushels per acre can be the result of poor planting conditions. Monty's Plant Food Company is excited to introduce a product that allows growers the opportunity to manage their crop residue and to maximize efforts and inputs. Introducing Humi-Till. Humi-Till is a specific blend of microbial digesters of lignin, cellulose, and keratin, and when active in the soil, work hand in hand with soil enzymes and other soil biology to expedite the decomposition of today's highly complex crop residue. The addition of an activated humic to this microbial package significantly accelerates what otherwise may take years to happen. In addition to targeting cellulose, lignin, and keratin, this product will help convert and unlock nutrients in residue and soil, accelerate organic matter mineralization, and contribute to overall soil health. The role of the activated humic in Humi-Till is to create a favorable environment for the microbial package in Humi-Till and the overall soil biology. The activated humic and microbial package work in tandem to maximize your soil's ability to make nutrients available, resulting in higher yields. For the farmers who currently till in the fall to address residue issues, the application of Humi-Till will only make your efforts more effective. Humi-Till should be applied before tilling, and if spray equipment allows, while tilling. Humi-Till will help break down residue and convert nutrients, making your current tillage efforts more effective and producing higher yields and healthier soils. Humi-Till offers farmers an opportunity to address an issue that will not go away unless you take action. By applying Humi-Till at 3 to 4 quarts to the acre, you will gain the upper hand to break down crop residue that is limiting your return on investment and limiting yield potential. Humi-Till is best applied post-harvest. It may also be incorporated in fall or spring herbicide programs. Humi-Till may be applied with liquid nitrogen, Monty's AgriSweet or Monty's Agra-N. The benefits you will see from an increase in residue breakdown are fewer planting issues, improved seed-soil contact, higher and more consistent germination rates, and higher yields, such as more harvestable ears. And by breaking down crop residue, you are returning nutrients to the soil for a better return on investment next season. With today's volatile grain prices and variable fertility costs, getting the most nutrients from last year's crop is vital. In order for that to happen, crop residue must be broken down. If not, you are leaving money in the field. This slide shows that based on Purdue University's formula, a value of $96.26 per acre is left in the field on 200 bushel corn with a 1-to-1 grain-to-stover ratio at 15.5% moisture. It is plain to see the monetary value of your crop's residue. By converting and reintroducing the nutrients from your crop residue into the soil, you are dollars ahead for next season. Previously, we showed the monetary value of $96.26 in your crop residue. This trial data shows an 81% breakdown of crop residue, resulting in as much as $77.98 of nutrients per acre returned to the soil. Consider the Humi-Till advantage. Humi-Till is $10 when applied at 1 gallon per acre. With as little as 25% breakdown in crop residue, you are $14 ahead. With an 81% breakdown, you are more than $67 ahead. Simply put, anything over a 10% breakdown is money in your soil bank. Humi-Till is a product you can't afford not to use. Thank you. For more information, contact your Monty's representative or call 1-800-978-6342.
And again, if you have residue management issues right now or you've had them in the past, we want to hear from you. This is what our conversation is focusing on right now. We know some questions about Monty's generally, and we'll have a chance to get your questions answered later this hour. But right now, we want to hear from you if you have a residue management issue that you'd like to talk about with Joe or Ron. Telephone lines are open now, 877-731-6733. Call us right now. Lines are open, 877-731-6733. And we want to take care of your residue management problems. Joe, great information there, no doubt. It focused a lot on corn stalks, but you were saying during our meeting earlier, Mark, I want to make sure that we tell our viewers and listeners that it can cover a lot more crops than that.
Yeah, when we talk about residue, that can mean so many different things, such as wheat stubble, sorghum, standability, the rice stalks and stuff that's out there. So even chicken litter, any kind of litter, manure, those are residues that farmers have to deal with, and then they want them to get broke down so they can release the nutrients that are tied up inside of those.
Mm-hmm. So again, if that's a problem you've had with wheat, rice, whatever it might be, give us a call. Lines open now, 877-731-6733. Ron, what about your territory out in North Carolina? A lot of information there. I'm sure you were kind of shaking your head. I can relate to that. So it sounds like it's hitting home for you too.
Absolutely, Mark. With the advent of the new hybrids, the new stacked hybrids, which it mentioned in the video of having more lignin and more cellulose, it's taking longer to break those materials down, and we're seeing the very same problems. The video was dead on with the experiences that we're seeing in North Carolina, for sure.
And it just continues. If you don't handle that right away, I guess the problem is never going to go away, and it can compound itself the next growing season. This is the time to start.
Absolutely. No,
and Joe, back over to you. So how can we learn more, which we're trying to start this hour here, but you've already done some things to help the producers out there get information about Humi-Till.
We've actually introduced it to our industry, which is the dealers and the ones that deal with the farmers, on crop life, magazine articles and different, there's even video links on there to take them to that very video. And you know, even our XM listeners that didn't get to see it, they can go to our website, which is www.montysplantfood.com, and actually watch that particular video at their convenience.
Mm-hmm. Very good. And we invited our viewers and listeners to call in with a residue management question. And Jim from North Carolina, Ron, has taken us up on that offer. Okay. Jim, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
Thanks for the call. You're on here with Joe and Ron, so go ahead with your question or comment.
We've had some pretty good results with Monty's liquid carbon in the past on residue management. I'm just wondering how much more this new product does bring to the table as far as the management in the field.
Well, I'll address that, Jim, and I think that you'll see a faster results. We have seen success with carbon alone in the field, but this product now with the microbes in it that are specifically designed to break down that cellulose and lignin, I think you're going to see a lot faster result. And it's not that the residue completely disappears, but we actually break it down inside the stalk so that it shatters. So we talk about tearing up tractor tires. Now when the tractor tire hits it, it just shatters apart, and there's little bitty pieces all over the ground, which of course releases those nutrients even faster. So thanks for the call.
Anything to add, Ron?
Absolutely. I think with the advent of those microbes added to the power that Monty's liquid carbon has already exhibited, it's just a wonderful combination, and we're just looking for wonderful things from it.
Now, as far as I ask a question here, and thanks for the call, Jim, getting things started. If you put this on in the fall and it starts to rain a lot, or it doesn't rain at all, and it freezes, talk about if anything, what happens to the product and to the whole process in those cases.
Right. The beauty of the product is once you apply it to the field, of course, you're covering the corn stalks when you spray it on. And we've even run into situations, especially out in Illinois and other places, that's had heavy rains, and it'll even move corn stalks across the field, pile them up sometimes. We see that. But once it's on the stalk, it will move with the stalk. So even if you pile them together, it's going to help break that pile down even faster.
Mm-hmm. So we've got a picture up there, no-till. I want you to maybe just spend a couple of seconds on this specifically.
Yeah, especially in no-till situations, we need that quicker decomposition of corn stalks because they're constantly coming back in with those no-till coulters and stuff. And we know in the past it's been a real problem to cut through some of those corn stalks because they're so tough. And so this will help break that down. And then when they do no-till, it'll shatter, break apart, fall apart. And that's what we want. We just want that residue to just shatter so that it can be decomposed by the biology in the soil.
Very good. Again, we look forward to you to join the conversation as we continue residue management issues you have. 877-731-6733. We're going to take our first break right now. Ron, you'll be leaving us, but you'll be coming back. And then we're going to be joined by a good friend from the state of Kansas, going to be joining us as well. We come right back. Your telephone calls. One product down, one more to go. There's more to come, and you're hearing it for the first time right here. Monty's Plant Food. Rural America Live continues right after this. Welcome back to Rural America Live. Our friends from Monty's Plant Food joining us tonight. We've been spending time early on talking about Monty's new residue management product. You heard it for the first time right here on Rural America Live, Humi-Till. And our lines are open for you to ask questions of the panel here with the rest of this hour, 877-731-6733. And again, Ron Perry will join us a bit later. We're joined by Joe Dedman, back with us, first time in our new home here on Music Row. Special guest Bernie Lickteig with AgChoice MFA, Osage City, Kansas. That's close to my home territory there. So, Bernie, good to have you here as well.
Pleasure to be here, sir.
Tell us about yourself and your background and AgChoice.
I grew up in eastern Kansas, small, well-diversified family farm. Just love eastern Kansas. Grew up in Greeley. Get the great opportunity to work for AgChoice, which is part of MFA. 100 years plus, very great company.
It is.
And just enjoy working with farmers.
And we're going to ask you, you're hearing it for the first time, just like, I mean, this is something that Joe kind of kept under wraps. So you're hearing about Humi-Till for the first time. I want to get your thoughts a little bit later. But you have alfalfa, a lot of folks out there, a lot of cattlemen, of course, in your state. And alfalfa and good pasture conditions are very important. And Joe, that leads us into product number 2.
Right.
I want you to unveil here for the first time right here on RFD-TV.
Yes. Well, our second product is called, it's got a little catchy name, but it's for hay and pasture, alfalfa, any kind of forage for the farmers. And we call it Hay Now. So,
How about the Hey Now?
you know, so we were sitting around the office, and one of the guys says, "Hey, Joe," and I said, "Hey, now what?"
Yeah.
And they said, "Yeah, that's a great name."
That's how it works.
So
some people pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for a name like that, Joe.
That's right. That's right. But
So talk about that new product.
This product is also specifically designed to supplement the grower's regular fertilizer program. It's not a replacement, but he can actually apply this product after each cutting of hay, whether it's grass, alfalfa, or whatever. And on the pastures, they can also apply it usually in anywhere from 35, 45-day intervals. As the cattle eat it down and it begins to come back, they can actually put this product over. It's a foliar applied product. So it is a NPK product with several micronutrients in it. And we're seeing some really good results with that to help farmers really push some of those hay yields. They you know, a lot of times they don't get much on the second cutting. They get even less on the third cutting. Well, this is a tool to really push to the second to get more, and the third to get the same or more out of their cuttings. And it also extends the pastures out even further in the season, so they'll get longer grazing.
Now, the Humi-Till, which you introduced here earlier this hour, you apply that in the fall after harvest, or you can do it in the spring. Now, what about application of the Hey Now?
It can actually could start this fall as a winterization type product. So the farmer could go out and actually apply it this fall before the hay goes dormant. And then as it comes out next spring out of the dormancy, he can apply it then, or he can have a first cutting and then apply it after the first cutting. So it's very flexible. It will let him apply it when it suits him, when it works under his conditions to grow that hay.
And we didn't mention with the Humi-Till, available now. You're introducing it tonight. It's
right.
available now. Available where?
Well, mainly at all of our distributors, which they can find on our website. Bernie, of course, will have access to it with MFA. Southern States, TFC, MFAs, all of these particular ones throughout the country will have access to it of our distributors. And they can find out more about Hey Now, even on our website, that they can visit and find out more about the product.
Very good. Bernie, over to you here then, and what you've just heard here, and you were hearing about it before coming on, but talk about some of the hay, alfalfa issues in cattle country in Kansas.
Well, you know, your pasture and your forage right now is extremely important to everybody. I mean, the price of livestock and whatnot. So anything we can do to improve that only improves the animal's health. You're improving the soil profile. We can go on and on and on. There's just so many benefits of it.
Yeah. What are you hearing from your customers about some of the problems that they're having out there? I mean, is they get that? It sounds like what Joe's describing. You get a great first cutting, and then the second cutting is not quite as good, and the third cutting may not be there at all. If it is, it's not much that they can produce compared to the first two. But is that what you're hearing out there?
Sure, we see a lot of that. And if you go through the trouble of doing a little bit of soil testing and get an idea of what we really need out there, and come up with a complete recommendation for the farmer, the ability to apply this on alfalfa between cuttings, a 1 to 2 quart rate, the results that we're seeing is just remarkable.
Yes, a field, Joe. Yeah, you're looking at that, and I'm doing the same thing, looking at that field right there, and that is a lush green field right there.
That's one of Bernie's customers, alfalfa field we're standing in. You might want to tell them about that.
This is David Hirschberger down by Melbourne, Kansas, and just some Monty's Agrihance V between cuttings, and putting a half a gallon of the liquid carbon down in the fall before it goes dormant, and then again another half gallon in the spring as it's coming out of dormancy. So the results are just speak for themselves.
I guess so. Now, we may get a caller, and again, our lines will be open for you to call in, talk about Humi-Till or Hey Now, that you've heard these two new products the first time tonight. Lines open to hear from you, 877-731-6733. I would imagine they might ask a question, Joe, kind of anticipating that, if they've been putting down some of the other products. Well, what's this going to do different? What's Hey Now going to do for me that some of your other products have already are doing?
Right. It's mainly designed for forage and hay and pasture. and alfalfa. Even though we've used some of these other products, you can still use those. Hay now will just be an extra supplement you can add at one trip, so to speak. Winterization, you may add the carbon like Bernie just talked about. But this product is just very easy to use, and it'll give that perk and that jump. The analysis escapes me at this moment, but it's on our website. And it also has micronutrients in it that really helps the grass too.
Mm-hmm. Now, you've got a gentleman named Leland Glass
Yes.
out of Kentucky, and you have a video that's going to help us as we learn more about this new product. Talk about what we're going to see here.
Yeah, Leland's just going to address it from the standpoint of a cattle producer. He's got like 800 brood cows, and he's actually seen the difference that when he puts Monty's products on his hay field, and he'll testify to that.
All right, this is Leland Glass from Kentucky. Let's take a look.
My name's Leland Glass. I live in Hiceville, Kentucky, which is in Barron County. We farm around 2,000 acres. We raise around 300 acres of corn. Some of that goes to silage. The majority of it goes for grain. We have 857 mama cows. Our main priority is in the beef. I guess I first heard about Monty's probably 5 or 6 years ago. I guess I've been using it for 4 years, and I've been really impressed with it year after year. The main application I use is dry carbon. I use it in my fertilizer when I fertilize the pastures. The reason I use carbon is Larry asked me to use it on one field, to use it on half the field and see if I seen a difference the following fall. And in the following fall, after I'd used it on half of this field for pasture, the pasture on the side of the field that I used it on lasted 3 weeks to 4 weeks longer than the other side. Monty's is definitely a good return. I don't work for Monty's, but I do use their product, and I do sell their product in a business that I operate. And I see a return wherever we apply it. If you want to just try half of a field, try half of a field and mark it. And then I say, well, no, I take that back. You don't even have to mark it. If you can't tell a difference next year, then you probably don't need the product. But I haven't had anybody that we've sold the product to that doesn't come back and buy the product. Actually, we've had some customers to come in and say, you know, whatever you put in my neighbor's fertilizer, you know, I want some of that in mine. And you can't get no better than customers telling other customers about it. And you know, and seeing results. And it especially works good in tobacco. It works good in soybeans. It works good in alfalfa. Actually, I've not found any place where we're trying to grow a crop or produce a pasture or produce hay that the results are not visual.
And Leland Glass from Kentucky. Bernie, now that you've seen their product, heard more about it firsthand from Joe, what do you think about the impact it's going to have on your growers and the pasture conditions and the issues that you are talking about in Kansas?
Well, I think it should make huge impact for any of the cattle guys in Kansas or any state as far as that goes. You get the benefit of breaking down other residue with the hay now and feeding the grass.
Yeah.
Forage.
So, thank you. You know, it's just.
You've got testimony of David.
Yes, we have that.
Yeah, you have a neighbor. You mentioned the Hirschberger family and a neighbor, kind of back and forth. Maybe, you know, talk about that for us if you would.
Well, David believes in the Monty's product. Clearly, he sees firsthand, you know, the visual, you know, success that you can see.
There we go.
Here we go. So the guy on the left, David Hirschberger, that uses the Monty's products religiously, little to no insect activity there whatsoever.
Right.
And then just right down the road, a neighbor of his unfortunately got hit by a group of webworms that went through and just pretty much lost that whole cutting of hay there.
Joe, are they going to notice something right away if they put it on even in next spring? They're going to notice that very first cutting, something that quick?
Yeah, I think you will, and you'll notice it in the greenness of the hay that's greened up. usually we get more leaves, wider leaves. Most of all, you increase the quality. So it's palatability, it's TDN, it's digestible nutrients, which your cattle are going to do better on. Bernie mentioned an added effect that we really haven't dwelled much on, but the health of the plant will increase, therefore it doesn't have as much insect pressure. It doesn't have as many diseases hit it because the plant is so healthy.
Mm-hmm. And Bernie, we talked a lot about hay, obviously, here too with the Hay Now, but there's a lot of pasture just grazing out there, the Flint Hills and all over that part of your part of Kansas here. Maybe talk a little bit about how producers, maybe not the best pasture managers that they might be in some years when it's too wet or too dry, and how this might help.
Well, I think anytime you have a product that you can plant or spray at different times through the course of the year, you don't necessarily have to micromanage that whole scenario. It's, putting it out there when you can and trying to take care of it and look at your results, pull some hay values like Joe was talking about.
Sure.
I mean, it tells its own story. If you just have to try it. And that's what I try to talk to all my producers about is, there's a lot of products out there, but this is one that I've never had a service issue with. I've never had any handling problems. And I've used some others. And, they mold or they clump up. It becomes a huge problem for me trying to service customers. If they have to stop and clean out a planter or a spray rig, that's a phone call to Bernie. So great products. Joe always talks about the solubility, and I unfortunately have firsthand experience with some of the gritty, clumpy stuff that's out there in the market. So, Hay Now is just going to be another premium product that the farmer will be able to get a great return on his investment.
We have some callers on the line. I want to get back to the pasture thing here, Joe. Don't let me forget to ask you a little bit more about that, and along with the alfalfa, we know about that. We have Thomas on the line here from Oklahoma. Hi, Thomas.
Hey, sir. How you doing tonight?
Yes, fine. Thanks for calling. Joe and Bernie are here for you.
Yes, sir. The question is directed to both of them specifically, and the reason is I'm concerned about meat absorption of various chemicals that are applied in various crops, whether it be the corn or the soybean or the hay with the Humi-Till or the Hay Now. Have there been any tests done in meat absorption?
Actually, no, we have not tested it in that product in that manner. However, Humi-Till, we have yet to have it registered as OMRI, or OMRI certified, which would be organic.
Okay.
It has an organic component as well as the microbes in there are organic. Hay Now is more of a natural plant food. So there's really no chemicals, there's no issues in either product that could be a detriment to getting into the cattle, into the meat. In fact, it's going to actually help with digestion in the cattle. It's going to help with the palatability. So they're both beneficial products, actually.
Thomas, question, you have dealers in Oklahoma that he could get in touch with?
Because I travel so much, you actually visit our website for
the dealer.
Yeah,
that would be the place to go,
that would be the place to go because I cannot remember right offhand who we have in Oklahoma.
We want to make sure we answer all these questions. We have Ernie from North Carolina as we move along here tonight. Again, telephone line, if you're just joining us and you have a residue management issue on your farm, be it wheat, perhaps corn stubble, or if your alfalfa just isn't producing like it should, a new product, Hay Now, is what we've introduced tonight. We want to hear from you and questions you may have. 877-731-6733 to North Carolina here. It was Ron's territory. This is Ernie giving us a call. Hi, Ernie.
Hi, how you doing tonight?
Great.
That's great. My question is, does that product, Hay Now, does it work on clover and stuff like that as well as alfalfa and just regular grass hay, or is it something specifically for alfalfa or just hay grass or whatever?
Actually, Ernie, it will work on any type of forage. And we have forage that falls in the class of legumes with clovers and alfalfas. Of course, you've got your orchard grasses and your fescues and any other type grass hay that cattle will consume. And it will work on both of them. you will probably get a faster stimulation from a legume because it's fixing its own nitrogen. But either one and all will be benefited by this product. So thanks for the call.
You bet. Thank you very much. Anything to add that you want to the caller there?
I'd say that's spot on.
Yeah.
Clover and
He's pretty
alfalfa.
good, isn't he?
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
I love having Joe here. Good having you here too, though, Bernie. We're going to go to Ohio, our next caller. This is David joining us tonight in Rural America Live. Hi, David.
Hi, how you doing?
Hey, thanks for calling. Go ahead.
My question is, can a Humi-Till be tank mixed with a herbicide partner for fall application? Is there any reactions like to glyphosate or some of the other products we use in the fall for the perennial weed problems?
So that's a great question, David, and we've actually did lots of tank mixes with farmers, and we've found no antagonism whatsoever with any chemicals that we've mixed it with. So it's very compatible. It gets along well with whatever you have in the tank. Generally, we know that the more chemicals we put in a tank, 6, 7, 8, Bernie can even attest to that, then the more antagonism you may run into. But this is a great product that will mix with most anything.
Very good. Again, the Humi-Till on the screen there now, and Hey Now. Before we go to break, just real quick, a little bit more on folks who may have pastures out there.
Yeah.
They're grazing a lot of cattle. Talk about the benefits and how it's applied there and that sort of thing, Joe.
You know, and I'll allude to this, we haven't mentioned it yet, but being this is the year of the International Year of the Soils.
Yes, it is.
This product, actually both products that we've brought up tonight, will complement the soil health tremendously. And whenever we contribute to soil health, we also get a lot healthier plants, whether it's the hay that we're talking about, or we're getting a better stimulation from the microbial activity in the soil to break down that residue and release those nutrients for the next year's crop.
Very good. Hey Now, you're seeing it there and hearing it for the first time tonight. And we have certainly heard some great information from Joe and Bernie about the new Hey Now product. We're going to take our last break here. When we return, we'll be talking more about Monty's products with the fine folks from Monty's and dealers and growers around. And remember, our telephone lines are open as well at 877-731-6733. And Ron Perry will rejoin us as we conclude and head to the top of the hour. So time's getting away. We want to hear from you and any residue management or hay, alfalfa, pasture condition issues you have. These are the people that can answer your questions are here right now. Be right back after this. Back to Rural America Live. Our friends from Monty's Plant Food joining us again tonight, and we hope you'll join us with our time remaining as well. Telephone lines are open for you to join the conversation, 877-731-6733. And by the way, our good friends at Monty's are going to keep lines open at their office after our program is over. We'll be giving you that number a little bit later here as we head to the top of the hour, so you can get your questions answered after we are off the air. Monty's Liquid Carbon. If you've been with us on earlier shows in the years past, you know all about Monty's Liquid Carbon. That's where it all started.
Yes.
Joe, and we can't go through the hour without retracing that for folks who, a lot of new listeners and a lot of new viewers on RFD-TV and rural radio. Let's talk about Monty's Liquid Carbon.
And that's true. All the years that we've been on here, we started with liquid carbon. We've been mentioning it at every show. And you know, what we have now found out from many growers that has used our product, tried our product, and even continue to use it on their farms, it has become a foundation product. So they lay it down for the foundation of the soil health, which in turn benefits them whatever crop they're growing. In fact, we've even seen some results from that this year. But we've seen tremendous results of the liquid carbon, especially on wheat, and about tillering and the advantages of putting the liquid carbon down because it's an activated humic technology that's unlike anything else in the marketplace. That's the advantage that we have at Monty's is our product. I mean, it's different than any other humic on the marketplace, and we know that our competition knows that too. So.
Well, we'll talk about that, but you have another producer you wanted to highlight tonight from the state of Kentucky.
Yes.
This is Ray Tucker. Talk about Ray and what we're going to see here as it relates to wheat. Is that right?
Yes. Ray has been on RFD-TV, as you know, in the past. But the neat part about this video is Ray has now used it for 5 and 6 years. So he's going to get to testify to us what he has now seen over all these years and the advantages of using our liquid carbon.
All right, here is Ray Tucker.
My name is Ray Tucker from Shelbyville, Kentucky. We farm here in Shelby County. We raise about 2,500 acres of crops, corn, soybeans. About 100 acres of that is wheat. We also raise alfalfa, have a small cow-calf operation, and raise hay for sale and for ourselves. We're using Monty's liquid carbon. We like to fall apply, but that always doesn't happen. So we usually end up spring applying carbon. Over the years, just to give a brief history, 5 to 7 years ago, we started using carbon at the rate of half a gallon to the acre on every acre. And then we upped that rate a couple years later to a gallon to the acre. And then about 2 years ago, we went up to 2 gallons an acre. And then now we're back to a half a gallon an acre, basically as a maintenance rate. The reason we went up to the higher rates over time was simply because in our soil tests, we were seeing higher CEC levels, our organic matter was coming up, and so we've implemented Monty's liquid carbon in our operation every year, and we're just seeing a lot of great things out of it. What we've seen in our soil health, we've seen our CEC levels rising, we've seen our organic matters coming up, we've seen plants healthier from the start, especially since we've been using it for so many years now. Plants are getting off to a healthier start, especially in wheat. We're seeing more fall tillering. What we've done for the years that we raised wheat before we started using Monty's liquid carbon, we were in that 60, 75 bushel yield area year after year. And then a couple years after we started using the carbon, we started, hitting 100 bushel. I know for 3 years consecutively, we were at 102, 101, and then 99 for 3 years. And, it's greatly improved our yield, and we can, almost afford to raise wheat now with the low commodity prices. Some of the benefits we're seeing with using Monty's liquid carbon is gets back to plant health. And, the healthier your plant is, the higher your yield's going to be. We're seeing better start. We're seeing better emergence. We're seeing better growth throughout the years when the plants are in the growing stage. In our wheat, in the roots in our wheat, we're just getting a lot more root mass now than we were several years before. One thing we saw, now we refer back to 2013, we had a drought year here in Shelby County, and one thing that we noticed in 2013 was after using the Monty's liquid carbon, our plants, even in that drought year, were so much healthier. They were standing better. We didn't have, small stock. We still had a great, especially in the corn crop. And we really feel like that's due to water holding capacity in the soil, which the carbon helps with. We feel like it has to do with the available nutrient uptake to the plant. And we had, compared to fields that we didn't have Monty's liquid carbon on, we were looking at 30 to 40 bushel yield difference in those fields. I know that sounds like a lot, but that's the way it happened for us. In the wheat yields, what we've seen we would do test strips in the same fields, and we were seeing about a 15, 18 bushel yield difference, the yield being higher using the Monty's liquid carbon and lower without. And that's, I think we get back to plant health and things like that, and more nutrient uptake with the carbon making the commercial fertilizers more available. The yield that we're seeing, especially after using the carbon over all these years, we're seeing a yield advantage on wheat and on all crops. We're using it on our hay now, on our alfalfa. We're using the Monty's liquid carbon on every acre that we're farming now. And over the years and trials that we've done on our own farm, we've seen those yield advantages in every crop, and that's why it's implemented into our program. If you're growing wheat, especially when you're talking about low commodity prices, and I know it's hard to spend more money on a crop when you're looking at low prices when it comes to sale. But to me, that's the most important time to add something else to your mix to get those higher yields to help compensate for the lower commodity prices. I would recommend using a half a gallon to the acre. If you've got a very poor field, if you've got low CEC levels, if you have low organic matter, go ahead and put a gallon on, or even 2 gallons. But it's going to work different probably for everybody, because everybody farms different and everybody has different practices in their operations. And the best thing that I can tell you is try it and see how it works on your farm and your application.
Again, from Kentucky, Ray Tucker, who has been on our program before, giving us some great information. Again, telephone lines are open. We have lots of callers that have called in and stacked up. We want to get to as many as we can before we have to say goodnight. Let's go to Texas first. Thomas has been holding on there. Thank you for doing that, Thomas. Now you're up with our friends from Monty's Plant Food.
Hey, Tucker, who's been on our program before, giving us some great information. Again.
Okay.
Go ahead, Thomas.
All right. What's the cost per acre for that hay now?
All right.
Putting it out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's on jigs, Bermuda.
Hay now application runs anywhere from 1 to 2 quarts per application. Remember, we're going to put that on after each cutting. And so you're in the $6, $6.50 range, something like that. So 2 quarts could be around $12. And that makes it very economical to put on after each cutting.
And I think you did have a follow-up question about what kind of hay or products?
Oh, it was Bermuda.
Bermuda?
That's what he said. And it works on Bermuda as well as any other forage.
Make sure we cover that.
Yeah.
Before we get to another phone call, let's talk about, you mentioned something earlier. I want to make sure you cover perception versus reality, Mark. I want to comment on that, so let's do that.
Yeah. Our competition in the marketplace has all different percentages of products, and farmers run into that. Our salesman leaves the driveway, and then here comes another one right in behind him and says, well, I have a lot higher percentage. And our question back to this perception versus reality, our humic product is a 2%. It's very clean and in a great solution. Many of the other products are just a suspension. And so if that's the case, if you have a lot higher percentage products, then why aren't you able to put down less than a half a gallon of our product? So how could they just put down a pint to get the same results that we're getting with a half a gallon? And they'll never buy into that because their product will not perform like our activated humic technology. So this is what we're talking about in the marketplace, about perception versus reality. So,
very good. Yeah, that makes sense, and even more so, but that's what they're going to get when they talk to your dealers. They're all, again, educated into all the products and what they can do and why and how.
Exactly.
Let's go to Oklahoma for our next call. Thanks for that, Joe. And this is John from Oklahoma. Hi, John.
Hi.
Go ahead.
I was wondering about applying this to hay grazer or sorghum for second cutting.
You're talking about the Hay Now product?
Yes, on hay now.
Yes, it can be applied with grazer. It can be applied on sorghum. It can be applied on any crop. It doesn't matter. I mean, any kind of forage, any kind of hay, crop whatsoever. So it's a very versatile product. It can be applied any way, any shape, any form.
Ron Perry back with us from North Carolina. I want to get some thoughts, and you had some thoughts. You wanted to talk about some wheat components. We started the program with the Humi-Till and talking about wheat and residue. Your thoughts there?
Yes, sir. We're seeing basically the same things on our farm that Ray has been seeing on his farm for 6 years.
Yeah. And
it's truly exciting. It really is. But I want to focus on a couple of things, if I might, for a moment or two that are very important in wheat production. You know, wheat production is made up of 3 things, basically heads per acre, kernels per head, and test weight. And fall tillers are critical in establishing the potential to have a high-yielding, profitable wheat crop, the establishment of those fall tillers. Monty's liquid carbon is a critical component, has been shown that by research and experience to create those fall tillers. Now, why are those fall tillers so important? Those fall tillers are the ones that have more heads per acre because they have better root systems and they tend to take stress better and they last, and they're going to be there hopefully in the spring when those heads are created. Number 2, they have more kernels per head. And number 3, they have better test weights. So the criteria for having a high-yielding wheat crop is certainly centered in those fall tillers. That is a critical component of a high-yielding, profitable wheat crop. The second part that is important from a Monty's liquid carbon standpoint is the fact of the burn that we sometimes get if you're utilizing UAN as your nitrogen top dress in the spring. We have found that Monty's liquid carbon will help buffer some of that burn from the UAN, therefore decreasing the stress that would be on that wheat crop. And think about it, everything we do is to decrease stress on a crop. And so adding that Monty's liquid carbon then at that particular time is just an important part of reducing that overall stress on that plant at that time. And I could go into a lot of detail about it, but we don't have time. I know we have an upcoming video with Dr. Heiniger from NC State, and he is going to talk about these issues a little bit more as well.
Real quick, let's go to there. Again, a colleague you know very well. Let's go to North Carolina.
Sir. Well, I recommend Monty's because it does a lot of things that plant really needs. First of all, it helps stimulate those tillers. When we went and looked at tiller development here over the last 3 to 5 years, we found out that one of that thing that plant needs is a lot of early growth, and Monty's carbon helps stimulate early root development and early growth and helps that plant set tillers. Tillers in a wheat plant are developed early. It's when that first 60 days after that plant comes up, that's the time to put tillers on, and an application of Monty's carbon at planting time helps stimulate that plant to grow faster, put more tillers on, and of course lead to better yields. The other things I've seen with Monty's products that I like a lot is reducing wheat burn. We do a lot of top dressing in wheat in North Carolina with liquid products like 30% UAN. Oftentimes the time when it's heating up, that wheat's growing rapidly, it's very susceptible to leaf burn. So I like to put in a quart of Monty's carbon and to an acre, and it improves that plant's growth and resists that leaf burn that we oftentimes see with UAN. From what we've seen, our research actually showed that we get about 10 to 15 more bushels to an acre of wheat anytime we've used the Monty's product. So the farmer has a good opportunity when you get that kind of return on your yield to get a return on investment, particularly with wheat in the $7 range. It doesn't take too many bushels to pay for a Monty's application.
And we were just talking here, Joe, we could go another hour about all the things we want to talk about, and we didn't cover it all, but a lot of products. Let's show at least the products that are currently available, plus the 2 we mentioned tonight.
Right. And folks can find that on our website about all of our new products or different products that we've been using. Again, we have engineered those and designed those to meet farmers' issues and solutions, provide solutions for them in the field.
Very good. And we're going to take about a minute here, go around the table and get everybody's final thoughts. Bernie, I want to start with you. Bernie Lickteig from Kansas. Great to have you here. Your final thoughts tonight.
I'm looking forward to utilizing some of the Hay Now and Humi-Till products. I'm expecting the same great return on investment for my growers in eastern Kansas, and I have no reason to think that it won't.
Good to have you here tonight. Hope
Thank
you come back and see us. Ron Perry from North Carolina, your final thoughts.
Yes, sir. Please talk to your local Monty's dealer to further talk about rates and timing of application for Monty's liquid carbon on wheat, which we didn't get to, unfortunately. And in closing, I want to suggest that all wheat growers try some Monty's liquid carbon in their wheat production program. Keep up with it. Count the tillers. Check your yield. You are going to find out that it is a wise investment for your wheat crop, as research and experience has shown with many growers already.
Ron, thank you for being here. About 30 seconds here. Joe, you have the last word.
It's great to be on the show again. We love introducing new products, and we constantly strive to provide new solutions for farmers to deal with the issues that they do out in the field. Again, like Ron says, just try our product, and you'll see the difference.
Very good. And 2 new products tonight. Thank you, Joe, for being here. 2 new products you heard for the first time tonight, Humi-Till and
Hay
Now. You bet. And their callers will be standing by at the 800 number on your screen long after we are off tonight. Thanks for joining us. Good night.